This is not a branding talk. It's an internal reality check. What we're looking at is how our industry systematically turns differentiation into risk and sameness into safety. Not intentionally, not maliciously, but effectively. The result is that most outcomes are predetermined long before anyone claims to be competing. I am Steve Coleno, and this is Confidential Remarks. There's an unspoken agreement in this industry not to examine certain dynamics too closely. Everyone senses them. Few benefit from naming them. And the longer they remain unnamed, the easier it is to pretend they're not shaping decisions, incentives, and careers. We reward predictability more than performance. Pricing converges, messaging converges. Operating models converge, and people learn quickly that deviation isn't punished directly. It's just quietly excluded. Over time, this creates an ecosystem where being indistinguishable is the safest professional position. At a certain point, constraints stop feeling like constraints. They feel like guardrails. Predictability becomes protection. You know what will be approved, what will sell, what won't get you in trouble. That comfort is precisely what keeps the system stable. No one is actually trapped. There are no formal barriers. The limitation is psychological and social. The door stays closed because opening it disrupts shared assumptions. And once those assumptions are questioned, a lot of existing positions become harder to justify. This isn't about fear of change. That's a convenient narrative. The real resistance is about responsibility. Once you step outside the standard model, outcomes can no longer be attributed to the system. Credit and blame both become personal. Leaving the default removes plausible deniability. You can't say this is how it's done anymore. That cover is gone. Visibility increases. Scrutiny increases. And many people would rather accept mediocre certainty than uncertain ownership. Differentiation isn't a slogan. It requires proving value instead of referencing precedent. It requires explaining choices instead of pointing to norms. And it requires accepting that not everyone will agree or follow. When someone demonstrates that an alternative path is viable, the threat isn't competitive, it's psychological. If the door is real, then staying inside is no longer inevitable. It's elective, and that makes people uncomfortable. The fastest way to neutralize a threat is to label it reckless, irresponsible, unrealistic. These labels aren't analytical, they're defensive. They exist to preserve the legitimacy of the status quo without having to defend it on merit. These reactions are rarely about the individual. They're about self-preservation. Discrediting the outlier prevents an internal reckoning about why others choose not to move. These systems don't survive because they're optimal. They survive because enough people, consciously or not, benefit from their predictability. Every rationalization reinforces the structure. When someone proves the assumptions wrong, the response is rarely quiet. Pushback intensifies. Criticism gets louder. That reaction isn't evidence of failure. It's evidence that something fundamental has been exposed. No one broke the system. They revealed it. And once it's visible, it can't be unseen. The question isn't whether the door exists. It's who is willing to acknowledge it, and what that means for everyone else in the room. This has been Confidential Remarks.